So here I am unwrapping a small selection of the stickers that I got. Mostly these are related to the holidays and some of the doodles that are coordinating with the monthly artwork, and then some refills on daily stickers that I use. When Helen releases the artwork for the monthly kits, she also gives you a list of Tombow marker colors that she thinks coordinates with each of the monthly kits well. And what I did was I took those colors, I chose four of them, um, and assigned one to each week. And wherever the months had a week that like overlapped each other, so the end of January was in the same week as the beginning of February, I made sure that that color was either a color that was used as a coordinating color in January and February, or that it worked with both months' color schemes. And then I chose kind of the most representative color for each month to be the monthly color. So these colors end up being used on the week's spreads for the week that I've listed here, and then on the daily pages that correspond to that week as well. So like here are the August colors, um, August going into September, and then I have chosen 526 as the color for the monthly page because it's the one out of the group that I felt went with the August artwork the best. Setting up the base layout of each monthly page, I'm going to take that Tombow color that I've selected for the month. I'm going to draw some lines to put my headers on in the sidebar for things that I have goals or am tracking for the month. And then at the bottom, I put headers for what I've accomplished, and I will complement this with the dots from the monthly kit, of course, the monthly artwork and label, the days of the week headings, the date covers for Sundays, and the watercolor dots to renumber them, as well as the accomplishments banner at the bottom. Okay, so here we have the base layout for the month at a glance page in the Hobonichi. Um, and what I am going to do now is add some of the decoration from this large monthly page one on washi paper that I've gotten. So these boxes that have to do with the previous month, I'm not going to use them for writing in anything because it's on the previous page. And likewise, if this month ended before the end of a week, and these were September dates, then I would also not use those boxes. So the first thing I do is I'm going to white out the numbers, since this decoration I'm going to use is on washi paper. I don't want the numbers to show through. So that's that side. This side. Okay. And then I'm going to choose deco pieces to put down based on sort of how much space I have. I think I'm gonna do the fish over there. Yeah. All right, so a lot of times I like to line this corner up with the corner of a calendar box. Like that. Here. Do the blue one down here. See if I can get it in the corner. There we go. And then I'm going to put this last one over here. There we go. So that just, I feel like, gives the calendar page like a little bit more visual interest. And this will look a lot more cohesive once I go in and put all my like event banners and birthdays and things in here. So yeah, that is what I do with some of the large monthly page 1 washi bits. Okay, so the next step of my monthly spread is to add in holidays, birthdays, like special dates, and I also like to add in the moon phases. So for that, I'm going to use a couple things. I'm going to use the monthly kit for the month. Then I have the USA 2026 holidays. I have 2026 pagan holidays and also general holidays for 2026. There are no general holidays in August on this sheet. However, there is a pagan holiday and there is a US holiday. So the way that I do this is on the monthly spreads, I use the little doodle icon. And then on the weekly pages, I use the banner because it fits perfectly in the weekly columns, whereas it's a little short, or it takes up too much room for the monthly columns. If I put it at the top, it would fit, but then it would cover up the day number, so I don't want to do that. And then these 4 labels here at the top are the same width as these labels over here. And what I'm going to do is basically trim them to 1 inch, which will allow them to fit up here without covering the number of the day. And then I'm going to write in whatever they are. So for any holiday that there's not an icon for, or somebody's birthday, or like the moon for August, like the full moon, that's what I'm going to do. The zodiac, all of those things are what I'm going to use these labels for. The other rectangular labels have been used as the covers for the Sundays, which Hobonichi prints in red banners instead of no color or gray that they use for Saturday. And Helen was saying that she puts these on the sticker page so that you can cover the red because it doesn't always go with the monthly artwork.
August is not a great example because August is blue and red. But the other thing that I've noticed is in my 2026 Hobonichi book, the red color printing is off slightly. So it doesn't stay within the lines. Thankfully, Helen's stickers are just like a squidge bigger. So they cover the red, even though the red isn't perfectly within the lines correctly. So you can see I've stuck in my icon for the pagan holiday this month. Since the Sundays already have labels on them, I'm not going to stick another label on top. So I've just written in Book Lovers Day and Virgo, which both happen on Sundays. And then over here, you can see I've lettered my labels for other important things that are happening this month. The new moon label is just the end that gets trimmed off of this label, turned into a diamond, and then I'll use the other bits that get trimmed off these labels in other places. So these are ready to stick in, and then this month is done and ready for like events to be populated in here.
So the base of the weekly spread again starts with headers, but most of them I do as swatches. Again, it's one Tombow color per week, and then I am adding this typewriter washi days of the week because I think it adds a little cuteness, and I'm adding the sticker week label that is the emoji speech bubble. Then I'm going in and adding tiny icons for my habits. I have 4 categories of habit that I'm tracking, and then I have a tiny icon for my knitting category as well.
And this is what my desk looks like currently, because I was going really methodically through like step by step through the planner. Ignore the funky tripod. Um, but then I just wanted to get all of January into the planner before tomorrow. So I put out like literally everything. So yeah, this is a little crazy, but we're making progress. I'm excited.
Hobonichi adds a blank page in amongst the dailies whenever you're changing to a new month. And I wanted that page to have some decoration, so I'm using this large page 1 and using some of the torn edges artwork from it, as well as the monthly label and a couple of the small doodles to decorate these pages. I'm just first whiting out the numbers and the month title so it won't show through, as these are washi paper that I got. My base layout for the daily spreads includes a color swatch. This corresponds to the week spread and the color that I used for that, and also a header line for my knit notes. And I'm also coloring in the today stamp and writing any of my like repetitive chores there. Um, and that's about it for the base daily setup.
Okay, now that we have done the month spread, the weeks spread, we are ready to do the days spread. And I use a couple things here. So I use banners, boxes from the monthly kit, and I use icons from the large monthly page 1 on the washi paper. My kind of rule of thumb is washi paper for daily pages and the opaque paper for the month and the weeks, or really the weeks. And then we have the icons for the wacky holidays. I only track the wacky holidays on the day page. So these are what some base layouts of the daily pages are. And the first thing I do is reference and see what is happening on each of these days by going back to my monthly spread and checking it out. Here I know that it is Mustard Day on August the 1st, so we'll have that to put in here, but I need to check if there's anything else before I put that down, so I leave space for everything.
So here is an example of how I lay out things around the title block. It's a little hard to see the title block through the sticker release paper, but these are all the possible things that I would put around the title block and how to position them so they don't cover up the numbers. And then this is my like holiday space between the today label and the bottom of the hourly section. So on this blank graph paper page, I've divided it in half, and the top half I'm using as a little calendar of when I go on dates with my husband. And the bottom half, I am tracking any of my personal records in the gym that I have managed to exceed or set new records for throughout the year, and to just track what those records were originally. This is my timetable and my pen swatches for all the pens I've used in my spreads. This is my setup for my travel tracker. You'll see a lot of these spreads are using an Emoti washi tape, and then maybe a few doodles. So my books read spreads and my travel tracker spread ready to fill out. In this clip, I'm setting up my budgeting spread, which is really where I want to keep track of things that we go through multiple times a year and how many of them we're buying, so that if we need to buy them in bulk, we can do that all at the best possible time. So this is just how I am setting up my budgeting spread. And here is the 2026 budget breakdown spread when it is all set up and ready to fill out. Again, there's some washi tape at the top and some pen swatches that coordinate. Here I am setting up my stash in and stash out tracker, which I am doing on a separate piece of paper and then covering up one of the extra pages in the Hobonichi that I don't use. I don't like the writing that's on it, so I'm just adding my own page. And this year I wanted to track how much yarn I brought into the house to add to my stash and how much I managed to knit out of my stash. So that is the purpose of this spread.
Very excited. I'm extremely excited for this spread because last year I was coloring in like a mood indicator with a marker. But this year I had this brilliant idea to get a bunch of the small, not tiny, emoji heads from the Coffee Monsters Co. and use those to mark my moods. So I'm going to do the first one because I found the perfect one for today. And I think I've decided, since these are washi, I'm gonna go ahead and white out the number. And this is how I'm feeling today. Boom. So by the end of the year, this should be fully filled with emoji heads. And I have a bunch of different options. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, we've done the first one. Hello. It is finally time to do a flip through of my Hobonichi Techo Cousin. I feel like it is pretty set up, so I wanted to show you what I have done. Obviously, this is the front cover. I have a Midori Codex clear cover on it and just a collage of stickers that I have, a lot of which are from the Coffee Monsters Co., like all of the setup in my planner, but there's a few other ones that I've collected from various places. Okay, so on the inside cover, I have set up a bulletin board, and this basically is because a lot of times I use the inside cover of my planner to put random sticky notes that I have jotted down things on in there. So I decided I would just make it official. This is just like a recycled brown paper bag that I've used to cover the inside cover. I have a 2026 vinyl from the Coffee Monsters Co. down here in this corner. And then I have a dot, like a watercolor dot from the large page 1 that is indicating the page number here. I have added a pocket made out of some vellum, and in that I have the tiny icons for my most commonly recurring appointments. So manicures and haircuts, which we do on kind of like a monthly basis, and then the weekend banners. And then I have a like 5 sticky notes stashed over here to use. So that is my bulletin board. Then on the like title page, I have made an index, and on this side I just have another vellum pocket with stickers and then my planner label. I'm not going to say this over and over again, but everything pretty much is from the Coffee Monsters Co. I like cohesive feeling artwork, so although I could mix a lot of different stickers and things together, and I tried that a little bit last year, I'm much happier with like something that feels like it all is the same style and scale. So that's why you'll see that. So this pocket I am using specifically for banners, boxes, like sticky notes, and then I have my rescheduled, canceled, and like planning stickers um, in this pocket. So yeah, it's like a lot of boxes. Um, what I discovered last year is that I don't really use the boxes or like the labels on the daily pages very often, especially like the artwork heavy ones that you don't write something on. But that meant that I had a lot left over. And also, I was using the labels to write like to do on every single daily page, which meant I needed more labels than come on the monthly kits. So I ended up ordering like some smaller size labels. I forget if these are probably the 0.85. And like I had quite a few of those left over and like the sticky notes that came with them and stuff. So I'm keeping them in this pocket. The intention is to actually use them rather than forget that they exist. Then this index, I felt very pleased about. One of the freebies that came with one of my orders, one of the times last year, was this alphabet clippings, I want to say is the name of the sheet. Yes, alphabet clippings. And it was the alphabet with all these cute little like doodles. And I was like, what am I going to use this for? I really liked it, but also I don't tend to spell things with these because there's not enough vowels. I think my writing looks awkward if I use them as like the first letter of something. So I didn't know what I was going to do with like one singular alphabet. And then I had this brainstorm that I would use this for my index. So I have assigned them to the various like specialty spreads I have in my planner. So all of these are the alphabet clippings, and then all of these page numbers are written on a watercolor dot from the large kit page 1 that I got for the year. And then the index label is from the Just Hobonichi Things sheet. Okay, then we have the this year, last year, next year pages. I am using the like calendar covers in the sticker format. This is also from Just Hobonichi Things. And I have like a color coding system to mark important dates, so I've done that. On the last year and next year section, you can't get these date covers in the right size because the calendars are smaller. Obviously, 2 years fits on one page. She does do free printable versions of these, and I was like, oh, maybe I will print out the free printable version of 2025, like small enough to fit over here. I don't actually have access to the 2025 ones because I wasn't part of the newsletter back then, so I can't do that. It remains to be seen if it will work for 2027. What I did find is the 2026 ones, because it is like pencil and watercolor, rather than like a digital font, it's pale enough that when I make it small enough for this side, I lose the numbers where I basically can't even read them. Even printing them out like this size, I was like, this is really hard to read, which is why I went ahead and got the stickers rather than printing and cutting out my own. So instead, I'm using one of the icons from the month to like mark them. And I'll go through and do all of the months at some point, but I'm also using the other icons for other places in my planner. So I'm sort of like still working on that. Okay. This is like the year at a glance spread. Last year I used it as a habit tracker, but I track habits other places, so like it was redundant. whatever. These labels this year are from the Just Hobonichi Things page that Helen did. It was new this year. I really like them, except in the English version, you have to add this little extra tiny sticker, and I found it really difficult to line up. So that was like annoying and frustrating, but whatever. I think if you had a system and you did it properly and maybe had tweezers, it wouldn't be so horrible. Okay, so every day I'm writing one beautiful thing that happened that day. Then I'm using this lower section to write down important dates. They are color coded. These are the same color codes that I use in my calendar when I underline dates. And then up here, I'm going to write down my like top 3 things that happened out of this list at the end of the month. So that's how I'm going to use this spread. I'm covering up a lot of this so you can't see like specific dates of certain things, birthdays. Not your business. Okay, then all of the monthly pages follow this format, which is that I use the monthly kit, the artwork, the month label. I use the dots to highlight these categories that I want to write down things that are happening in the month. So my categories are events, home and garden, cleaning, health, appointments, and knitting. And then this label is from the monthly kit as well. And I just write accomplished on it. And then I use this bottom section to fill out like what I accomplished. So this is like plans and like goals. And then this is what actually happened. So going on a date with my husband, I want to make sure that we do that at least once a month. Cleaning, goals, like did I accomplish this? Workouts, which I do list under health, but I have like a workout goal, number of workouts a month. Staying hydrated, I have a goal for that. I have a goal for how many self-care points I want to earn. That one's none of your business. And this one is knitting accomplishments. So that's kind of how I lay that out. I used the rectangular boxes to cover the Sundays because they are red, and this kit is a good example. The red just doesn't go with this theme at all. So Helen said these banners were actually designed for that, and I used them. The only thing is they do cover up the numbers. So I got the watercolor dates for 3 months. There's 1 sheet per month. I got 3 months and basically figured out how that would align with the months of the year, because I'm not using 1 through 31, I'm using 7, 14, 21, 28 for this month, right? So 1 sheet will cover several months. I figured out that I could use 3 sheets. I tried to pick the ones where the colors would go with the months. I think I made like 1 mistake where I'm not super happy with it, but whatever. These headers are also part of the monthly sheet. Okay, so the Hobonichi starts with December of the previous year. So I got a spare 2025 December kit, and that's what I used on that. Then I used all the 2026 kits, and the Hobonichi gives you January, February, and March of the next year. So when 2027 comes out, my plan is to get the January, February, and March kits and fill out these months. I think it's nice to have the month like dashboard to start writing in things you know are going to happen in the next year, but also I want it to look pretty, so I'm going to do it that way. So essentially when I order 2027 stickers, I will need to order January twice, February twice, March twice, and December twice, so it can go in the first page of the 2028 planner. And yes, so that is how I'm going to do it from now on. It means that I'm buying 16 monthly kits instead of 12. Don't care, this is what I want to do. Okay, these are my weeks spreads. So the weeks have this mini calendar up here. I have underlined the dates on every single mini calendar in the same way that I do at the beginning, yearly calendars, the sticker ones. Then I have used this roll of washi tape that Helen put out to cover up the days of the week. It's not perfect, but I do really like how it looks. I wish it was a tiny bit skinnier so that it actually was the same width as the boxes. And I wish that it was like sized where they would fit and not like run over the lines. I started by trying to trim them all and was like, this is nonsense. So, no. And then she put out weeks of the year sticker sheet. So I used the Emoti speech bubble ones. This is how I set up my sidebar. I pull a card for the week, and then I write down a little blurb about what it means. And this is my habit tracker. So I'm using the tiny icons for the 4 habits that I want to track. And I have a key of how I achieve a check mark and fill this out. I don't actually use check marks. I use slashes, and then an X is like 2. Did it twice. What I am working on in knitting, and then anything else I need to do this week, like change my contacts, or the AC filter needs to happen, or like any of those things. This is where I use the holiday labels. Also, if I have a day off from work, I use this little pillow from the monthly kit. I do mark in the moons, and yeah, any other like events, birthdays, like things, I will use the like labels from the kit up here. Also, an interesting thing is last year was the first year I used the Hobonichi, and I got a hardcover. And it was fine, but I'm definitely already liking the soft cover better. The thing is, the hardcover came with bookmarks, and the soft cover does not. It's not a deal breaker at all, but it is nice to be able to find my place easily. And I invented a thing that solves that and also does several other things for me. So, in part of my bid to fix the what do I do with those calendar pages at the beginning, that the stickers are too big to cover, but I can't resize the free printables, I missed the window, or Helen didn't put out this year, I think I missed the window where the 2025 sticker, like whole sticker that would have covered the last year section, and you can pick several different sizes that it comes in. I think it was sold out. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And she had this like card version of it. And I was like, maybe that will cover things. Well, it's too big and the wrong orientation to like in next year's planner cover the 2026 last year section. So I was like, what am I gonna do with this now? It's cute, but like, what do I do with it? So I turned it into a movable stationery station. The bonus is that I have the whole year calendar. So if I'm ever like, when is September 13th and what day of the week is it? It's right here. So this goes on whatever day is the current day. And I've done several things here. So let's break it down. First, I have made my own little washi card. The backing card is actually David and I got some chocolate bars in Iceland that were in these like cardboard boxes essentially, and when you unfold them flat, this is one of them. It has bats on it, so I really liked it, like origami bats. And all I did was run a piece of heavy duty packing tape around the middle of it, so the washi is sticking to the packing tape, which means it will come off. This is 100% Helen's idea. or at least I saw it on her blog. Maybe she got it from someone else. It is not my idea. The materials are mine. And then I don't have a ton of washies right now that are like daily events. I have a lot more just like decorative patterned ones from my Archer and Olive boxes last year. But I do have this like Down Days emoji washi, and this like coffee shop washi, which has all these different little coffee shop scenes. And then I put a decorative one from Archer and Olive in the middle because that's what fit on the packing tape strip. So this is just like some daily washi. Then I have, we'll talk about that later. Okay, then I have a scrap piece of paper because especially when it's cold, I find the Energel Clina, which is what I'm using to write in this, does not dry quickly. So like I'm smudging it. And that's really annoying for me. So I have a scrap piece of paper to either like lay under my hand or between pages when I've just written something and I want to move on while it dries. Okay. Then I made myself this little sandwich of sticker release paper, just leftover from sticker sheets from the Coffee Monsters Co. that I've peeled the like outer paper off of. So it's just sticker release paper. And these are what's left over from the January kit because we are in January. So things like icons, that don't have an immediate home, any of the like label boxes that are left for that month, the arrows, any leftover balloons that I haven't used, a canceled, a rescheduled, and then a few that I've just added in. So those are there. And then on the flip side, I have my most commonly used like tiny icons for daily things that are not chores. So I use them to mark different things. And then I have the moods. So these also come off of the monthly kit. This is the monthly kit. And then this is the large kit page 1, which also comes with a selection of icons. And I got that on washi. And then just like a selection of mood emojis from various sheets that I have. So that's my little like daily sticker stash. Then I have this master chore list of chores that I want to do once a month. And my rule is kind of like 15 minutes of chores every single day, and I want to do it before I go to work. I've been terrible at this. So, especially in January because I hurt my back, that took me out of the game. I almost got sick. I got summoned for jury duty. Like everything's just, the whole world is on fire. Everyone is being awful. Everything's disintegrating. So like, I haven't had a lot of extra. So almost none of these chores have happened, but the goal is to keep this list, choose one thing a morning, mark that thing off, and by the end of it, be done with this list of like 20 some things. And then I would feel great about how clean my house was. It is not there. Whatever. So, okay, so those are the things that I keep in this little doodad for daily reference. Okay, so the backing card is just that calendar. Then I had this like navy square envelope that just happened to fit here. So I sized everything to fit in that, and I stuck it down with tape runner. I am using 3 photo corners to house the washi card. This is a trimmed to size emoji sticky note. And this is my key of the symbols I use to check things off. And then I have a small square of sticker release paper. This is from like the freebies that get thrown into orders. And the reason I have this is sometimes you put a sticker down and then you realize you want to reposition it and you need to like do something else. So this is just to hold the sticker in the meantime. So that is my like daily thing. And I keep it on whatever page I'm working on so that then also it works as a bookmark because it's a little bit fat, so it's real easy to find. So yeah, that is that thing. Okay. At the end of all the daily pages are the other special spreads in the Hobonichi. And starts with this blank graph page, which I have decided is my books read tracker page. What I have done is I have taken a bean card, and I felt so clever for this idea. And I did it in this planner and I was like, haha, this is gonna be my plan from now on. And then Helen was like, I'm not doing beans anymore. I'm discontinuing the bean program, which fair, like she has totally valid reasons, but I was like, oh, that's okay. But anyway, I took this bean card because they have this great artwork on them and they are different. So I picked one that I liked for here. And then I just have another one of those sticky notes where I've written a short TBR list. This is basically books that I own that I would like to make sure that I read this year. A lot of my reading happens in library books because I can carry those to work and I can read them in the bath without being as worried about them because they're not my nice hardcovers. So I do less reading off my own bookshelf. But like these first two were my Christmas Eve books from David this past year. And then there's like 3 thought-provoking books and 1 fiction book on this list that I already own and I really want to actually read. So it's just a short reminder to myself if I'm looking for something to read. Okay, then we open this up. This is the actual graph paper, and I've set it up so it has 2 columns, and I'm using the genre emojis to categorize books, right? And then I have the title, the author, the start date, and then the finish date of things. And these are from the September large doodle page this year because September is like a library book theme. So I got the large doodle specifically to kind of decorate this page. So the bean card program is where you collect these little coffee beans that are at the top of each of the sticker sheets that Helen makes. And when you get 21 of them, you can redeem them for a little sampler page of stickers. But you want to redeem 4 at a time because there's 4 different samplers at any given moment and they randomly give them to you. So if you have 4 bean cards and you turn them in all at once, you'll get 1 of each sheet. But if you turn them into individually, you could end up with a repeat sheet. So like I was like, until I redeem them, I'm going to use them. And then like they're already in my planner and I can find them. So I put a vellum pocket here and this is where I'm storing my genre emojis. And like a few reading specific stickers if I want to decorate some more. So I thought that was very clever. Okay, then we have my travel tracker pages. This is where I list all the international travel that I have done and all of the states and Washington, D.C. that I have visited. Then we have my budget breakdown tracker, which I am going to track 6 categories of things and how quickly we go through them. So that is that. Then I have a tracker for my dates with my husband, and I've used one of the icons from each month to sort of mark them into this little calendar, and then I'll go in and write what we did. My gym PRs, which I need to fill out, and like getting new ones. My timetable, which I spent way too long on. So this is like my standard schedule, and this helps me fill out my weeks section based on what kind of day it is, a gym day, a no gym day, a Saturday or Sunday. Then I have my pen swatches. So this is where I swatched according to the colors that Helen said went with the kits. Oh, I need to add my little lines in for the rest of the months. And just sort of like bracketed them in the color that I was using to do the monthly spread. So this color is on the monthly spread. These colors are each one of the weeks. And then the corresponding days of that week also get that color. That probably sounded really confusing. Okay, then we have this planner weight graph, which Helen introduced me to. Somebody else had done it. I think this is hilarious. So we're doing this. I have used this eating chips vinyl over here. I have marked it out. Oh, I know why January's offset, because the second part of setup, I was like, I might have. So these are dots from the large kit page 1. I still need to do July through December because those sheets came later. And then on the last day of every month, I will be weighing my planner to see how much weight it's put on. You can see that just the planner to the first phase of setup, it put on quite a bit of weight and it's probably heavier now. But yeah, it's just fun. And then this page is for favorite things. I just redid the heading as I've done with all of these. Like I prefer it to be in my writing. There's a lot of like blank space with just the Hobonichi label for the page. So I've redone them all. This is my 100 reasons to keep going, which Helen also uses. Gabby has started using it. I think it's a great idea. So I'm just creating a list of things that I can look back at that I want to experience. And then if I ever check one off, then I will add one to the list. Otherwise, I will just carry the list over. Some of them are like achievements and some of them are just like things like red pandas and French bulldogs. So yeah. Then we have the memories section. This year they're divided into food, fun times, new friends, and a write in your own category. I'm honestly not sure how I feel about these categories. So we'll see how it goes, but for now I've decided to leave this page as intended. Obviously I changed the heading, but yeah, we'll see if I mess with this layout at all. Couple pages that Hobonichi includes that I was like, these are actually useful. So I left them, I didn't cover them up. Quotations, which I think I'm going to do month by month. And if I have enough icons from each of the months, I'll put one in the corner or something. But yeah, January quotes, February, blah, blah, blah. Haven't written anything in here yet. Okay, then this is my mood tracker. So last year I did this by coloring in the circles. And it didn't really work out for me because it was hard to keep track of like what the colors meant. And then sometimes I would just forget to do it. And then Helen came out with small but not tiny emoji heads. And I was like, I think I can make them fit on this thing. It's a bit of a squeeze, but they do all fit. I need to like use a little bit more of the margin really to be in good shape. But I got enough sheets of them to have an emoji head for every day of the year. And I think that was 9 sheets. Anyway, and I got an assortment of like 5 different sheets. Some of them I got duplicates of, but whatever. And I've just been picking one every day. And honestly, I look forward to this. It makes me happy when I look at it, and I can just like easily see when there was like a string of like not great things happening. Minnesota. Yeah. And then I went through, because it helps me keep track, especially if I get behind. Since these are only numbered, I went through and added a little dot. So these are the spare dots that come with the watercolor dates page. And I added them in where the months start. Interestingly, the way this is laid out, it actually sort of just forms a diagonal line, which is very interesting. December obviously is offset because you end up, and February is a tiny bit shorter month. So, or yeah, February is shorter, which means the line starts in a different place than it would if it was longer. And then, because I need these emoji heads every day, I did my pocket thing again on a bean card. And in this pocket, I have all of my different emoji head sheets that I can pick my moods from. And this is just like one of each of the sheets that I picked out for my moods this year, so that they live right here where I need them, which is perfect. And then it covers up like this. And then this is my stash in, stash out page. I actually need to add to this because I just got yarn. So yay. So I'm writing down the date that something comes in up here, out down here. So if I finish a project and I've used up yarn, I would put the date down here. Then this is the dyer, the base that it is, the fiber, the colorway, and the yards / grams. And I'm just gonna keep a record and then like see, first of all, which side is longer, and then like total them up at the end of the year and see if we used more yarn than we brought into the house. In stash, I think I'm making a rule that if I bought yarn specifically for a project, that I'm not putting it here. That sort of works. I wrote down the Explorer knits, and that is for a specific project. It's actually for a this year project. Maybe I'll write down all my tarot yarn on one line. I'm not writing down 24 lines for the tarot yarn because they're all minis and that would take up like the whole sheet. Anyway, work in progress, just for funsies. I forgot to talk about the vision board. So I fill this out with a vision board for the year. It's basically like a representation of my goals, and also I pick a word for the year. So we'll fill this out later. And then, okay, so the monthly blank pages, I have used the decorative washi from the large kit, page 1. I've used the upper left-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner. That is orientation specific. And then I used a couple of the small doodles in one of the corners, and I used the month label. So there's February. There's March. So yeah. And then I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do with this middle space. I may insert some photo corners to hold like a representation of the oracle card for that month. TBD. One other thing I wanted to talk about back here mostly is, where's a good one? Yeah, here. So all of these colored stripes are actually stripes that I cut from the flaps of envelopes. So at one point, Helen was sending like an envelope that had artwork in the envelope, like in the bubble mailer that you got. And this one particular design that I had 2 envelopes of had these like colored stripes. So that's what I've used to like create these. I just cut them apart with an X-Acto knife and repurposed them. So yeah, a lot of like packing materials got repurposed in decorating this planner. The washi tapes are Archer and Olive from my subscription box last year. And some paper from Archer and Olive to make this big enough to cover the whole thing, because I thought it looked awkward if you had like some of it hanging over. Okay, this is the gifts page, which I am writing down things there. And then the addresses page, I'm using the top half to write down like 4 frequently used addresses. So like I send postcards to my nephews and nieces. That would be a handy address to have when I'm carrying this book around on vacation. My grandma, like things like that. But like I don't need everybody's address because I don't mail things to everyone, or we have phones. But a few addresses are nice to actually have written down. So that's that. And then I use the bottom half to just like sketch my street so that I could keep track of my neighbors' names, because I'm really bad at remembering them. So that's what the second half is for. Okay, last page is for personal details. I used some of this space. Oh, and then there's like a big block of Hobonichi stuff at the bottom. I used some of this space for some things in case my planner ever got lost, or like something happened to me and I had my planner on me and somebody needed to know my emergency contact. And then I have used this moon calendar that Sea Witch Botanicals sent me with my order as a flappy thing. And then I have a calendar of this year's Sabbats, the moons, and the my yearly oracle spread on the inside of this. I'm not going to show you because that seems private. Then Helen had done this where she put sticker release paper in the back of her planner and used that for stickers. And I thought, that is a great idea, and I should absolutely do that, because otherwise I carry around like a whole packet of stickers in just like a little plastic sleevey thing. Like this, I just use the plastic sleevey things from the orders and a little tag that tells me what they're categorized as, and carry a massive stack of stickers with me all the time. So last year I did it and I was like, this is easy. I will apply tape runner to the back of these sticker release papers. I will stick them in and be done. And then I realized it was really hard to like get the stickers off. So I peeled it back up and I like just stuck it down at the top so it worked like a flap and I could like get the stickers off, and that worked fine. The problem is I often forget what I want, and I have to like flip back and forth through from the page that I'm working on to this back and be like, what am I using? Whatever. So this time I decided to use photo corners and secure them that way. So it's an independent sheet. They are categorized. I did label them, and then I can just like, I'm like, I would like a mood sticker for this spread, so I can just carry it to the spread and then I can come back here and stash it. So I have activities up here. I have moods and feelings. Next year I'll probably do better with the labeling, but I was kind of like ready to be done setting this planner up. And then on this side, we have chores and accomplishments, food and drink. And those are like my 4 categories. Some of these stickers got a little roughed up in the I accidentally did this the wrong way around, and then I realized what I wanted to do. And then we have the inside back cover. This is like a plasticky, it was an envelope that one of my orders shipped in, and it's all like Helen's sketches. And I thought it was really cool, and I didn't want to like throw it away, so I used it as my inside back cover. And then I used a little bit of the like coffee time washi, because coffee's like my very favoriteest thing. And then this pocket, like the pocket on the front, is stuck to the clear cover. And it's a narrow pocket. And this is where I'm holding my like to-do checklist, like functional stickers. So yeah, lists and to-dos and like checking things off of lists. So that is my fourth and final pocket. All of the pockets are achievable out of one sheet of vellum. I purchased 2 sheets of vellum because I couldn't decide between the designs. So half of my pockets are out of one vellum half sheet, and the other half of my pockets are out of the other kind of vellum half sheet. So you could do all of the pockets that you've seen out of one full sheet of vellum. And it's literally just the big pockets are a quarter of the full sheet of vellum. The medium pockets, yes. So there's 3 big pockets, so they're a quarter, and then there's 2 tiny pockets taking up the 4th quarter, and those each take 1/8 of a sheet. So it just depends on how big your sticker sheets are and which orientation you're putting them, but these small ones were perfect to fit on the clear cover inside, which I thought was cool. So, and sorry, we have a notebook underneath it to keep it level. And then this is the back cover. So yay. Oh, and I guess the tabs are another thing. So I like having everything tabbed. So I put the category tabs up here, and then the pencil is for my one beautiful thing a day. And then I have all of the months tabbed because I just like that. And then I have all of the weeks tabbed by month. There's the vision board, which is a write-in tab. And then I have all of the days tabbed by month. And then the whole back section with all those specialty pages. If I could find an icon tab that made sense to me, I used that. Otherwise, I used the write-in tabs. I probably need to work on the tab layout a little bit next year, but I am happy that I have a tab to flip to anything that I want. So yeah, here she is.